Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode 145 of the Audible Farm Podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right here in Iowa. It's my favorite coffee. I'm not just saying that. It really is my favorite coffee. I drink it every morning, except for when I run out because I don't order enough and I drink it too fast. So that does happen sometimes, but I got to say, big shout out to Andrew for roasting me up some coffee and shipping it out to me this week. It was amazing. I don't know. I just don't know what I would do without it. It's my favorite coffee, and when I have to go back to the other coffees that I used to drink, I just don't like them as much. So if you want to try some Couchtown Coffee, it's highly recommended. Go to www.couchtowncoffee.com, find a coffee you like, and make an order. And when you do, enter the code word Audible Farm, and you can save 20% on your order. Thank you guys very much, and thank you, Couchtown. This episode, I'm sitting down with Nick Ehrhardt. I've talked with Nick a couple times on the podcast. He's the bassist of Riddled With Class. And you know what? They're one of my favorite cover bands in the local area. They're very, very stout. They cover a pretty wide range of stuff from, I would say, like late 80s to the 2000s somewhere. Anything from like alt rock to maybe some punk kind of stuff. It's pretty much just, if you like music and you're between the ages of like 25 and 45, they're going to play your songs. And that's just how it is. That's how wide of a genre bridge they have. They pretty much play everything but country. And I wouldn't even put it past them to play a country tune, honestly. But we sit down and we talk about all sorts of things. Riddled With Class is gearing up for a lot of shows this summer. But just enough because everybody in the band is getting busy with life stuff. But they're still packing some shows in there. Some pretty big shows, too. So check out this episode. Me and Nick sit down and talk about that and a bunch of other good stuff. So, yeah, we'll check it out. Episode 145 with Nick Ehrhardt.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Today I'm sitting down with Nick Ehrhardt. Nick, you came up actually on the last podcast I did. I did a podcast with Caleb Ferry. I don't know if you listened to that one yet.
I did this morning, actually.
Really?
Yep. Yeah. Caleb said some very undeserved and nice things about me.
I don't know about that. You got a reputation to uphold. Can't be telling everybody how nice you are.
Yeah, damn it, Caleb. And I feel the same way about that dude. Like every time I see him, it's always awesome. I really like Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to make a list of like all of the, let me see which one of these is my chair lock. I think it's that one. There we go. But if I had to make a list of all like the good guys in music, I could probably pull about 10 people from the Fort Dodge area that I would put on some like Mount Rushmore of good guys.
Sure.
Like there's that many of them up there, and I think that's one of the reasons the music scene in Fort Dodge and the surrounding area is so much the way it is. There's like almost no drama. Everybody helps each other out. We all go to each other's shows if we can. Help promote one another. And I mean, you're no different, and pretty much everyone else in your band is no different. The Merritt brothers help everyone out at Reman's. Levi came to Des Moines to see a show of mine when he was on vacation with his family once.
Yep,
and
I know, yeah.
And I was like, I talked about that once in the podcast, but I was just like, I know that guy. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so nice that you came out. And it just made me feel so good, that like, not that people don't come out to see a Three Finger Betty show, but it was just like, this is crazy. This guy's from way up there where I'm from.
Yep.
What's he doing here?
And Levi's an awesome dude. And it's the same thing. Like, if I'm not playing, my poor wife gets drugged to so many shows. I'll be like, hey, I haven't seen this band yet. We need to go an hour and a half away from our house somewhere, and then maybe I have too much fun, and then she has to drive me all the way home from an hour and a half away from our house or something, but
not to mention she runs sound for you guys in Riddled too.
Yep. She's I kind of get us started, and then she kind of takes over, and she's doing a good job of it. She has a hard time sometimes, like narrowing down problems and stuff, and luckily we're good friends with Brad from the Blue Ribbon Ramblers, and Brad Hofing will come in sometimes and he'll mess with it, and the board, the way I got it set up, you just hit save and you lightly tweak it from there for the next show.
Yep. Yeah, Brad, international man of mystery.
Yeah.
He'll never be on the podcast, and that's his choice, but
yeah, it's funny because he might say he's shy. He is not shy at all. I don't know, he just doesn't want to talk about himself, or, but also, if you talk to him about sound, he will say stuff to you that you're just like, I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. But he's like, no, well, this frequency, and
you build a shelf for this one, and then when you see with the bigger rooms, what you got to do is it's like a geometric kind of a formula you got to, and it's like, okay.
And I'm like, bass go boom, right?
Just chug,
Yep. But,
yeah, so I mean that's one of the fun things I think about you guys in Riddled is the fact that it's very clandestine. It's just like you guys have it all worked out between all of you guys, and your sound person is like attached to the band in a sense, so you don't have to like hire out a sound person, or
although
whatever.
that's something we have really kind of talked about. So if you're a sound guy listening out there, we are kind of in the market for that. We've worked with some great Brad, Mark Gales.
Oh yeah,
Mark Gales, Mike Wiedemann's run sound for us. Never on my setup, I don't think. But yeah, that's something we've really talked about. As somebody who really understands that, we've started getting some bigger shows, and sometimes being the bass player, sound guy / light tech might be a little much for me to handle. Luckily, I don't really do anything crazy on the bass, but it's still pretty hard to play a song and fix somebody's monitor or something, But and Lib does a good job, especially with like monitors. But yeah, something we've kind of kicked around, especially on like the bigger stuff, but.
Yeah. For anybody up in the northern Iowa area looking for a sound guy, you mentioned two of probably the best.
Oh, sure.
Mike Wiedemann and Mark Gales.
Oh, yeah.
I've been at shows and played on shows where those two guys have run sound, and it's phenomenal every time.
Yep.
There's another example of I was sitting there one time at a show, and I'm like, what's going on? One of these speakers is a little bit buzzy or something. And I just like turned around and looked at the soundboard, and the guy, he just stands up, and he's like, somebody's looking at me, and he like, okay, and he like walked over and pulled it all down and pulled it all apart, went out to his car and hauled a whole nother fucking speaker. Oh, there's already an F-bomb. Pulled a whole nother speaker column up there and plugged it in and had it all running. It's like, that's awesome. That's really, really cool. So, it's nice to know that those sound guys actually, they're not just somebody that's sitting back there, turns a knob and says, good enough. They're actually proactive about it,
Because there are those sound guys too. Yeah. And I mean, it is, a lot of the times we can handle it. Especially, I use what's called a Soundcraft UI-24. So it's a digital board. No need for a snake or anything. You just plug all your XLRs in right there. And you can kind of save, and then you run it with like a laptop or a tablet. And you can kind of save your presets, and that's nice. So you get an EQ that works for everybody. All the vocals sound a little dry. It's got built-in like reverb, and chorus, so you can notch them up a little bit. And it's nice. That takes a lot of the pressure off of us, but also to have like an active sound guy. So like when Greg or Levi are gonna go into a solo or something, you get that little like the boost, and I actually have gotten to play sound guy and not done a gig a couple of times. Both times it's been with Brutal Republic, actually, and we were talking about those guys, and that to me, I really enjoyed that too. I learned a lot from sitting at a Brutal show with Brad, and him showing me kind of this does that, and it's intimidating at first, but everything's right there, and I just don't get too crazy with it. But yeah.
Some of that I think is like the game when it comes down to like running sound though too. Like the more nuts you get with it, the more things start to mess up.
Yep.
I mean, I've noticed if you get like a regular console mixer and you just set everything at noon, like what I call flat,
Yep.
So there's nothing taken away, nothing added in as far as high, mids, or lows or anything like that. You just set the gain about as good as it needs to be. You set the levels about as good as they need to be, and you just use the main volume to crank or push it out to the speakers and stuff. So like that's not too bad, but like once you start being like, well, we need to take some of this out of here and some of that out of there, and then you're like, my guitar, I can't hear my guitar in the monitors. So it's like, well, I can make it louder, or I can adjust the EQs, or I can, you start like, I don't know what to do here. So
I think like for anybody that's just looking to put out an okay sound in front of everybody, if you don't mess with it a whole lot, you're probably best off. Get it set where it needs to be, just roll with it.
Yep.
But if you have like that active sound guy who actually knows what the hell he's doing, and it can be all the difference in the world. And that's something I think we probably will be working towards at some point, at least for some of like the bigger outdoor shows and stuff that we're doing.
Yeah.
It can be a lot of work. And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've run sound at a couple places, and like you said, it's kind of wild when you're just like, oh, this person's hitting a solo, I need to boost it a little bit or whatever,
Yep.
And I mean, I've played some shows where I haven't had to worry about it too much, but like I usually put like a volume boost of some sort in my chain, so that way if I'm playing and there's no sound guy and it's all just straight amp out into the crowd, it's like, well, at least I can volume boost this way. But then
Sure.
that's not necessarily preferred if you got a sound guy, because he sets up all the levels, and then once you crank up the volume
Yeah.
a little bit on like a solo, it just starts like feeding
Yep.
back on the speakers and stuff. So
Oh, and feedback is a nightmare. Luckily, actually, as of just recently, Riddled Live is all in-ears, which is pretty much eliminated feedback.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost always a freaking wedge, that's feeding back into some microphone. But
yep.
we, in Levi actually is all digital. He's not running an actual amp anymore. And the first show, that was pretty hard on me, because like it always felt like if I lost a step somewhere along the way, I'd have Levi and Jake in my ears at least, like just over here. And I was always running with one monitor in, one monitor out, because you run both those. And actually it turns out I just didn't have the right earbuds for everything. They didn't work for me. And so Levi's running, is it a Helix?
Yeah.
Line 6, I think, right?
Pretty sure, yep.
Yep. And just straight into the board. And I tell you what, mixing a guitar off something like that is easy.
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, you get a clean, unadulterated signal right out of that. And it's got all the effects he wants to put on. I mean, that thing's crazy, all the stuff. There's buttons and knobs. But I asked him to, and then he was running that and then an XLR out into a wedge. And that was kind of nice, so I could still hear the guitar if I had one earbud out. But yeah. I just talked a whole lot about gear stuff. But
I mean, that's another thing though too, with like some of us musicians, we could just sit down and talk gear all day long,
Oh, yeah.
like, because there's more than one way to do all this stuff. I mean, I've played shows where it's just like me and Clint are playing, and he plugs into just like one main,
Yep.
and that's it. And some people run two mains, and some go two mains with a monitor, and you could really start getting crazier. Some people mic everything up, some people
Sure.
don't. And I mean, we've done it multiple different ways with Jesse when I play with him, because it's like, well, we can do it this way, or we can do this, and the board's only so big, so we can't do all of these extra things if we wanted to. But
sure.
like one of the fun tricks was like one time we were playing with Owen, and he brought like a little tiny bass amp, and it was like, this isn't going to be loud enough to push everything, so let's pirate the headphone out on the
Yep.
on the amp, and then send that into the mixer, and then we can run you through the mains. And it was like,
Yep.
this actually sounds pretty good, so
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, long gone are the days where you have to, carry your 810 fridge out to places, but it still is awesome. I like it. At our bigger shows, I still run a 410 and a single 15 bottom and 1,000. I know how you like your PV stuff.
Yep.
Actually, it's Brad Hofing's old PV Binny Mega.
yeah.
That's a cool little amp,
They
really.
are, they are nice, I mean, I always said PV was like the best bang for the buck as far
Sure.
as any sort of gears stuff. But I'm so whatever. I like PV stuff,
Yeah.
so I'm one of their aficionados. I should quit telling people that and then just see if I can get paid by them to
Yeah. Hey, PV, pay me.
I have actually sent them a message one time about trying to get a sponsorship deal, and they didn't didn't respond to me. So
Sure.
whatever,
Sure.
I get
Thanks
it,
a lot.
Yeah. But it's not unheard of, I do know people that play in like local-ish bands that have some sort of a sponsored
Sure.
contract with them, so it's
Sure. And whether that, is really, you're actually getting, I don't know if some of these people are getting stuff for free or just getting large discounts on the gear. And we've run like a PV Triflex for mains a lot. Just recently, actually, we switched to a pretty really nice Electro Voice setup actually
Nice.
for outdoor gigs, bigger gigs, and actually I've kind of tried to wedge them into smaller places too. But I think we're running like 4,500 watts out of them.
Yeah.
So that might be a little bit of an overkill for a small town bar. But
Yeah. I mean, I know that when I play with Jesse, he's got some EV speakers. They're crisp, crystal clear.
It's nice stuff.
It honestly is. Yeah.
It is, and the amount. I'm very. I don't know. Like I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like to play an active bass because there's too many knobs on it. I'm pretty set in stone on what I like out of like my instrument. And the thing about Fender is I crank the volume all the way up, and then I find some sweet spot in the tone knob, and I'm good to go for the night, and the EVs, there's a lot more adjustment you can do and changes and stuff. And there's something to be said, though. I mean, if you look at the value of those EVs and what they're for, and then you look at like the Triflex, though, and how simple that is, and you drop it on the ground and you get your subset at this, and you turn your volume to this, and you're done. You know, and there's so many ways to skin a cat, if you will. And some of them are. Sometimes you need more adjustability than that, but I don't know. There's a lot of nice. The nice thing about those is they fold up to like the size of a guitar cab.
Yep.
And then you throw it in the trailer and strap it down and go to the next town. And I don't know. But
the new PV Triflexes, do those like combine down into one unit? Because I did see
kind of. Yep.
I saw
So
some
the
pictures.
two satellites sit on top of the sub.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I saw in a PV forum, go me PV forum, like who does that? But I was in a PV forum and I saw that somebody was just like, I bought this PA unit from the '80s. What is it? And I was just like, that's a vintage Triflex.
Yeah, you sent it to me actually. Yeah.
Yeah, the two satellite units just slide right in the airports of the sub. And
Yeah, I saw that. That's cool.
That's what I was just like, that's pretty neat, And once again, those are great for anything from like a small to a medium-sized venue.
Sure.
But if
we ran 2 Triflexes for a little while on like our
dang.
bigger stuff,
Dang.
and I mean that worked great. I mean, obviously, I like the EVs better, but that this weekend we're at a real small place, and this probably will air after this coming weekend. Actually, it definitely will. So
let's see here. What Lakeview?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're at the bar in Lakeview, and
You were at the bar in Lakeview
Yep.
last Saturday. How did that show go?
I think it was probably awesome.
It
man.
was amazing. It
Yep.
was amazing. I couldn't make it, but I heard from everyone that it was a great show.
Yeah, we ran that Triflex, for the first time in a little while.
Through the magic of editing.
Yeah.
But you do have a lot of shows coming up. I was at Matt Wood's show here in Humboldt. He was playing some guitar for like the 50th anniversary of the KHBT radio station here in town. So I swung down to that, and I was like, oh heck, Nick and Riddled With Class are just like half a block away. So I ducked out after catching most of PK Mayo's set, which by the way, he was good. He's from Minnesota, blues guitarist. And so I was like, let's swing down here and watch this. So me and Vince Benishek, my buddy that I met at Iowa Central, we swung down there and watched some of your set too. And I think that was one of the first shows that Levi was running fully digital. Because I remember he was kind of incorporating the digital into his live sound for a while, and then he just completely deleted amps altogether. Which I don't hate. There's a lot of people that are purists that are just like, that's not the way to do it. That does, tubes are the best, and Dirk and Dirk.
Well, and Levi was one of those people. And the thing about tubes is, if you could replicate. I think I said replicate, but if you could replicate the tube sound the way they say you can in some of these like little digital amps, and if it actually sounded like an old tube amp, everybody in the world would do that.
Every single person would do that.
What you don't want to pay twice as much for something that weighs 3 times as much, and if you bump it the wrong way, it might not work.
Exactly. Yeah,
but. There is something to be said about like that old vintage stuff. And I'm not even a guitar player, but like the breakup out of it and stuff. Mm-hmm. And the digital is getting closer.
I mean, like every 5 years, if you benchmarked it, it like doubles in how close it's getting. So,
and I think more and more, like even of the pros are using straight digital setups, and if you really look at some of these, you're watching, I don't know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers play somewhere in Spain or something like that. A lot of that stuff behind them is just behind them because it looks cool. Like I've seen actual like cardboard cutouts of like cabs and and stuff and like I don't know if you went to Celebration when they had ZZ Top and
I did not actually.
There's like 27 freaking amps behind each guy. Like no man, they're not really doing that stuff anymore, but the digital stuff's getting better, and then people who know what they're doing getting it out to your ears. It used to be like your bass cab was so you had to have one big enough to play a stadium, or something like that. Yeah. Now nobody does that.
No. I mean, that was like one of the things I always thought was funny. Like Vino's been using like a 1x12 like combo amp peg for like ever.
He played my rig actually at Donkey Days, and it's the best that damn thing's ever sounded. But he's a hell of a bass player, man. He's a hell of a musician. I sort of feel like some of these guys you can't really pigeonhole by saying, oh, he's a hell of a bass player. No, that dude's just a musician, and he's fantastic. But
yeah, and I almost feel bad letting the secret out about some of those guys because it's just like, man, it's only a matter of time before they're off to bigger and better things, you know. And he's definitely one of those guys,
Well, and he's been there though too, I mean, I think I talked to him. Usually when I'm talking to Vino, there's a few beers involved and stuff, and God, I think wasn't he in Nashville for a while, and so he's done a lot of different stuff, and we're lucky to have him in this area. And that band, we just did Donkey Days with them, and man, they were awesome, and I was talking to, I think I said it to Jeremy like 8 times that night that they should have been after us. But as hot as that day was, I'm so glad they were before us. Also, that band looks way better without shirts on than my band does. So.
I do recall seeing a picture of that, and then I don't think any of them had shirts on. But, like you said, I don't know if I'll be caught dead at a show without a shirt on.
Nope, not me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the way it is. But
there's no way I'm going to look cool because I like cake and food way too much. Like it's not,
I agree.
Yeah,
if I took my shirt off, there might still be like cake and food on me.
and like honestly, like is like the rest of my arms get pretty tan this time of year and stuff, and then it's like liquid paper the rest of me. So it's not a good look.
I wore a sleeveless shirt to go watch somebody play not too long ago, and somebody's just like, you need to tan that up a bit, and it was just like I was outside for like 4 hours with a shirt on, and now I'm ruined for the rest of the summer. It's never going to look even ever again.
I didn't base this out the right way,
Yeah. You almost need to burn at the beginning of the year, and then you're golden the rest of the year.
Yep.
But yeah. So how was that Donkey Days show? It was pretty packed. I know Donkey Days is usually a full event.
Oh, yeah. I have many good memories over the years of Donkey Days, actually. One of my best friends growing up was from Renwick, and we'd go and play, sand volleyball, and start at 8 in the morning with some cold Keystone Lights, and didn't celebrate it that way this year, but I was there at like 9 in the morning setting up, and it went awesome. Brutal killed it. We went up, had a great crowd, had a good time. Josh Lippold and the fire department over there set it up, and want to thank them again for having us, and love to go back again sometime. I'm sure we'll get a chance. But it was a lot of fun. And then I saw people I hadn't seen in a long time. I hadn't been there for years. Josh and I tried to get together on this like 3 or 4 years. It's been a while, and just never could work it out. Obviously, that point in the year, if you're in a band, is when things started getting busy. Early summer and. Yeah. But I was glad we got to do it this year. So,
did you play late enough to? You were outside on like a stage. Did you play late enough to end up using some lights or anything like that?
Yeah, we went on at 9.
Okay.
Which I think when like Brutal went on, it was probably like 93 or 94 degrees. And it was a calm 84 degrees when we started. So I want to thank you again for that, Jeremy, and I really appreciate that.
Oh man, he looks super cool with that giant beard, but I don't envy him playing out in the heat with that thing.
And it was his birthday, and so
Oh, man.
I tried to get it impromptu singing of Happy Birthday to him, but it did not work out for me much, and I want to apologize again for that, Jeremy. I know how badly you wanted that. So
Yeah, that's Jeremy in a nutshell. He wants everybody to sing happy. No, he doesn't.
I think he was kind of pissed at me at first. So
Yeah.
like, shut up, Nick.
Yeah, he's definitely a modest guy. You know? If you went up and fanboyed to him, he'd just be like, "Ah."
Yeah, go away.
Yeah. But we talked about that. He's another one of the good guys in music around here. You obviously, we talked about that, but Jeremy, he's another really talented guy that doesn't use his talent to be like, I'm better than you or whatever.
Well, and I think that's most of the guys in our area. I mean, if you look at like even not to, I get to be in a band with these guys. I'm not bragging up my band here. I don't think we suck, but like Greg and Jake Merritt, they're fantastic musicians. I mean, Jake, believe it or not, is a hell of a guitar player. Oh yeah. But he's like, he knows so much, and he'll be like, yeah, that's the blow, and he'll sit there and Greg will be like, there's this weird chord in this one song, and Jake will be like, that's this, and it's just like, it's crazy to me. I have no idea. So you guys want me to play like on the 7th fret of the A string? Like,
is that what you want?
Yeah, and like,
then you turn around like, aren't you supposed to be the drummer? You're not supposed to be telling me that we're playing like a diminished 9th chord or something.
Yeah. Well, and then Levi in the band. I mean, the nicest dude, super quiet. He's actually kind of a shy guy. I mean, until you put a guitar around his neck, and then it's not. And I mean, I feel like you could say that you start talking about other bands, like all the guys at Brutal or, Clint.
Yep.
Honestly, like, if you can't have a conversation with Clint Riedel, you must be deaf or mute,
exactly.
I sell cars, kind of still. And there's a guy I was selling a car to, and he's like, do you know this Clint Riedel? And I was like, very well, and he's like, he's going to have my 90-year-old dad come out to the junkyard on a Tuesday night and play spoons with him.
Yep. He did show up.
Yep, it's Ken Skinner, and he's a big music fan around here too. And that's that dude. And I feel like you could go on down the line, and all these guys. The best friends I have made as an adult, I mean, not all of my friends are musicians, but most of my best friends as an adult are musicians.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, we've all sucked really bad at one time, or something, had a really bad night. We understand all those things about each other, I guess, and then honestly, we're just doing this stuff for fun. Some of us are doing it for a living, but you're not doing this for a living unless you thought it was fun. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of blood blisters behind, closed doors and basements before you can go out and score $400 from somebody for playing some songs for a night, and
yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I mean, the music scene around here, all the people are, and have I met some people that maybe weren't as supportive, or like, almost a lot of times though, I feel like that comes from jealousy of it, or
yeah. And that's such a weird thing, because like when I grew up, I was talking about this on the last podcast. I was like, man, I'm so good at the guitar, and then like the more I went and watched other people play live, I was just like, man, I suck at guitar, and that like it didn't turn into jealousy for me. It turned into like this weird sort of like I suck plus envy.
Yeah.
And how do I get to where they're at, And I still would not put myself on the same shelf as like your Jeremy Obers and stuff. But I can see myself slowly creeping towards their skill level. But I'm always just like, man, this sucks. I suck at guitar. But it's like, I must not suck if people are inviting me to play with them at shows, though. So there's this weird, like, double-edged sword I'm, like, dealing with and fighting with. And I feel like a lot of people have that same
Oh, yeah.
kind of
No,
thought process.
I mean, last weekend, Lib and I drove to Audible, to go watch. Greg and Jake are playing in a band with Neil Anders, who's, holy cow, Neil's a fantastic musician. And we were talking about songwriters before this, and great songwriter, you know. And Neil's album, I think it was his first album. If it wasn't, I'm sorry, I missed that. But that album was awesome, front to back.
Yeah, if it's the one that's on Spotify.
Yep, the one with like the blue background and the face, you know, and
yeah. I mean, it has like a Beatles flavor to it.
Yep. Oh yeah. I said that to him, and he kind of looked at me surprised, and I was like, "What? What were you going for, man?" Because that's exactly where it felt for me. It had like very much like a Beatle-esque, you know, feel to at least the first few tracks, you know. And
yeah, and the crazy thing about that is I'm fairly certain he does everything on the recording. Like,
Yeah.
I think he's playing all of the instrument, including all of the horns, and I think he's playing
but I
all
think Greg and Jake did some bass and drum work. But
all right.
so we go check them out in their new band, and they have another guy, and I feel bad. I can't remember what his name was, but playing with him, he's playing keys and some guitar. Mm-hmm. And I'm watching Greg play bass, and Greg plays guitar in my band, and I'm like, man, I suck at playing bass, you know. And but like, I don't know. I mean, I can hold it down pretty steady, you know. And when you're playing with Levi and Greg in a band, sometimes you don't need to be, you know, Flea on the. Although I do get to do a couple of, just one now, Chili Peppers tune and stuff. But I mean, we all have our roles, and I think what one person might think is awesome, another person doesn't, you know, and stuff like that. But then I fear like these child prodigies like Owen, you know, who's what, 15?
Yeah, 16, I think.
Is he 16 already?
Yeah.
So Owen's grandpa and I worked together for 5 plus years, and I've listened to his grandpa talk about him playing for, you know, the whole time. And I don't think it's been that long.
No.
Kid just gets it. Just gets it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's kind of like, damn it, I wish I just got it. you know, but
yeah, that's really funny. Like, I did an episode with Owen not too long ago. He came over and we were going to work on one of his bass guitars. He's like, well, I want to do some mods to it. And we set it up to do some mods, and then realized we didn't have all the right parts. So we had to, you know, back up 10 and punt on that. But then I was like, well, let's do a podcast instead. So we sat down and did a podcast, and come to find out that, like, most of his stuff, like you said, it's all in his head.
Yeah.
He doesn't, like, he can't, I mean, he can look at a guitar neck and be like, all right, we're doing this. But he just listens for like a second, and then he's like, all right, here we go. And like,
and I'm envious of stuff like that.
It blows my mind.
I'm always been, I mean, over the years, have I got better at like figuring out what's going on the fly? Absolutely. But I'm still the guy that like, hey, we should learn this song, and then I'll sit at home and figure it out, you know, and then come to practice. I'm not that great a musician, but I'm incredibly prepared most of the time.
I feel like that is maybe like 75% of the battle, honestly.
Sure.
You know?
Well, I'm the kind of guy too I'll have two basses for a show, and then another set of strings sitting there, and then, you know, like 20 extra XLRs, you know, just in case 20 XLRs shit the bed in one night, you know, like.
I'm the same way.
I don't know.
I was recently cleaning out my cable bag, and I was like, why do I have 6 quarter-inch cables that are extra aside from what I need? We're never, like, everyone else could just cut their XLRs in half, or their quarter inches in half, and I'd have enough to replace all of them.
Well, and if you're ever in a band with Levi Drew, the guy never brings a fucking quarter-inch cable anyway, and I F-bombed on purpose there. But, like, and that's just it, though, too, is, like, I feel like that's kind of my role in my band, you know, and, And like, I'm the guy too that tells everybody, "Hey, we're gonna set up at 6:00, and I get there at 5." You know, and because I kind of like setting it up. I kind of like laying everything out, and then I don't know. And then I probably flake out at teardown more than anybody else. But I don't know. I feel like the thing I can bring to a band is being steady and being prepared. You know, where the rest of the dudes in my band are just incredible musicians, and I just kind of just try to back up what they're doing, you know. But yeah, I don't know how the hell we got here, but
I don't know either. But seriously, I feel like that you're bringing up a good point with like being prepared. And I talked about it in a previous podcast too, but like I tried out for a metal band and they were like, here's our catalog, learn what you can and then show up on this day. And I showed up and they're like, all right, what songs did you learn? And I was like, all of them. And they're like, all of them? I'm like, yeah, I didn't know which ones you wanted to play or which ones you guys are tight with or what. So I just learned them all. And they're like, this is insane. And I'm like, you got, why would I show up and be like, I learned half of 2 songs and then like a third of this one, and like,
I know the bridge part in this one.
Yeah, no kidding. Let's just play the bridge of this over and over again. No, like
go part. You know, I got that down.
But there's also like no more crippling feeling than showing up to a gig and being like, oh my god, we're not prepared for this.
Yeah. Like, no, and I've been there, and I'm.
Me too.
I don't even want to. So, like, in the history of Riddled, it started off me and some friends from here in town. And being prepared and being super tight and great musicianship wasn't really necessarily the number one goal,
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, you guys were kind of. I remember that though. You guys were kind of a party band on the on the local scene. Yep,
very local for the most part. Yeah,
and it worked well for what you were doing, though. Honestly,
sure. Yeah, no, we did it. We did great with that. And then there's been over the years, there's been some turning points, I guess. And Levi joining the band was a kind of a call. Like, oh, we better bring it. We better get, because he brought a lot of the stuff I thought we were missing, and then, things change and people come and go. And then Greg and Jake, and I think I look back, and if you dig through our Facebook, there's videos before, and then there's videos now, and I'm incredibly proud of where we've come, and even just my growth in the band, I guess, just by playing with those people, and they definitely challenge me, and I don't think there's any, you need to learn this song, you bitch, or anything like that.
No, and that's true though. Like you get around good musicians and they kind of up your game a little bit,
Nobody wants to be the sucky guy,
No, but it's also beneficial to be like the worst musician in the band too.
Yeah.
I can learn from everybody,
Yep. Well, if I mess up, I just look at Jake like it's his fault anyway, and it works. But just don't make eye contact with anyone. And there'll be times I'll mess up and I'll look over and Levi's got his arm up in the air pointing at me and like, you're a dick.
Calling you out. That's hilarious.
And that's it too, though. We're good and tight, I think, but we're still having fun. We're still giving each other crap the whole time, and yeah, I don't know. That's the fun part, is when somebody messes up, if you can laugh at them. And I've heard you talk about, I listen to this podcast pretty regularly, not as regularly as I used to, just because my work schedule has gotten a lot more full, I guess.
Yes.
But we always talk about like being able to laugh at your mistakes, and then who really notices?
That's true.
There's glaring ones sometimes.
Definitely. But it's usually only like if there's somebody in the crowd, it's usually only another musician, and more often than not, they've been in your shoes before.
Yep.
So they're not gonna be like.
I went and saw Riddled. They're all right, but Nick sucks.
Yeah, yeah. There was one song they played in a 4-hour set, and he screwed up 3 notes in a row, and now they're
there's
trash.
Way more than that.
Yeah, whatever. But like.
Yep. Oh no, there's always way more than that. But like, it is funny with that show you were talking about at the Poorhouse. Was the first show we were all in ear. Oh yeah. And Levi wasn't running like basically an extension cab out of his thing. And so, like, I got, like, some sort of feedback in my in-ear, like, it cut out, and I don't know if the batteries were low or what, but I completely lost where we were, like, 2 or 3 times. And I come out to take a break, and my little sister, Tasha, she's like, you fucked up like 3 times on that. And she's laughing at me. I'm like, boy, I really messed up if Tasha notices.
But also put nothing against Tasha, but put a bass in her hands and see how she does.
Yeah,
too.
you go up there and play, Tosh.
Yeah.
Quit being mean to me.
It took me a long time to realize that. Like when I first started, I was like, I'm so good. And then people would give you crap. And it's like, well, you get up here and do this.
Yeah.
And then there was a tipping point where it's like, no, I am a trash guitarist. I need to learn how to do this better.
Sure.
And then it was just like, now I can't go up to people and be like, you do it better, because the only people I hang out with are other musicians who are so much better than me. And I'm like, well, they could come up here and do it better. So I'm not going to tell Jeremy Ober, like, you get up here and do it better. But Jeremy's never going to talk shit either. So.
No. And it's, I mean, we put all this pressure on ourselves, and it's 100% undue pressure 99.9% of the time. You know, like, I just did my Sex Panther reference there. 60% of the time it works every time. But we're hard on ourselves, but that's how you get better too. I mean, because if you're just like, if you got up and you grabbed a bass and you learned how to play, I don't know, something with like 2 notes in it the whole song, and then you're like, this is it, look out, Les Claypool, this world is mine. You're
playing like What I Got by Sublime or something.
That damn song, I never want to play that song again, but it goes over well. But
yeah, it does. I mean, well, let's change the gears here, because you brought up a good point.
Sure.
Like that's another song where I'm just like, meh, and one of my favorite parts in there is that, like, there's a lyric in the song where they pretty much just be like, this guitarist can rip.
Yeah.
Check it out. And then the solo in the recording is like not anything over the top.
Yeah.
It's not like a crappy solo, but it's not necessarily anything that's like, oh, this is amazing or whatever. And so I saw a meme online the other day where they were like, people, rip on the guitar solo for What I Got, and then they go play live, and you're just like, wait, why are you even ripping on this guitar solo in the first place or whatever, But
I've heard people do it like just noop, 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 like saying it out loud, or singing it.
That'd be awesome,
like,
bro.
Yeah. That's a band I love, and like their bass player is good. Their drummer is really good. Actually, they were all pretty good.
Yes, they were.
But yeah, some of the mainstream Sublime stuff, and people are, oh, I love Sublime. Here comes my name 3 songs thing,
Yep.
But like if you listen to some of like Bradley's like acoustic stuff and stuff, like, it's such cool music, and I don't really anymore. I go through so many like phases of that stuff. But yeah, What I Got, I could literally go the rest of my life without doing it. But it always goes over like gangbusters.
Always. And I mean, always. And it's such a simple song to play.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you and I probably think it's quote unquote boring or whatever.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's old ladies with pink hats in the crowd that are singing along to it.
That's a Sublime song that your mom knows. It's not Smoke 2 Joints or
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing insane.
When we play it, I actually use a wah.
Oh, nice.
And it's kind of fun. And I just do like a little hammer on pull off thing to go from. There's 2 very prominent chords there, and they are D and G.
Yes, yes.
And once you got that, you're okay.
Yeah,
But
so if there's any beginners looking for an easy song to pick out, that'd be one of them, and you're gonna kill with it. But being in a cover band, like, that's something new-ish to me. So like most of what I've done as far as playing music is not doing covers.
Sure.
I did the quote unquote stockyard for a while, and that's something that just kind of fell by the wayside after we played a couple shows, but. As far as covering music, like, that was one where it's just like, we're going to cover songs that people don't normally cover. Like, we're going to cover like Ted Nugent's 3rd single off this album. And people are like, what? Or it's like, I
didn't know that song before that, actually.
Oh man, Stormtrooping? Good stuff.
I did not know that one.
But like, what was another one? We played like Gots to Get Paid by ZZ Top, which was like their 2003 single off that album.
Well, all the 2003 ZZ Top songs were bangers, and it's a cool song. It just, I didn't know that one before that either.
So we played a bunch of goofy like songs that people might not know. Sure, we threw in your Voodoo Child and your whatever, but like, there's definitely songs I've learned while playing with Jesse that it's like, I'd be okay never hearing this song again. Not even just not playing it. It's just like I could prefer not even hearing this song, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to call out too many songs. I mean, like What I Got, not my preferred cup of tea anymore.
Sure.
Even just to hear it live, it's just like brr, you know, like cool or whatever. But like I said, I'm not going to point out too many songs because I don't want to put any bands on blast or whatever.
Let's do it. Let's just start naming names. No.
Oh, I mean, I can name one song that almost every band has played at one point in time, but like I said, I don't want to like put anyone on blast. I'll say it just for the sake of saying it, but like this is the only one I'm going to name. Cumbersome.
Yep.
I could probably go the rest of my life without hearing Cumbersome.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's just whatever. It is what it is. You know,
We
it's
did
one of
it
those-
for a while. I hate that song. I mean, and the thing about it is I don't anymore because we haven't played it for a while.
Yeah.
For me, that song is Kryptonite by Three Doors Down.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that. And that's one for me where it's just like, dude, this song, I'd listen to this song. And
Really?
Yeah, but
And I don't know what it is.
do you think it has something to do with like playing these songs over and over and over again in a live fashion just kind of burns you out on them?
Oh, yeah.
Because you remember
yeah.
like back in the day, it was like, I'm going to have this song as my ringtone on my phone. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
And then like 3 weeks later, you're just like, I'm never listening to this
F
song
this
again.
song, yeah. Every time my mom goes, I go crazy, you know. I mean, there is, but then there's songs that we've done for years in this band that like Everlong by the Foo Fighters. Like,
yeah.
I love that song.
Yep.
Still to this day, maybe more than I did before we started playing it, honestly. I mean, there's those. Honestly, the songs I enjoy covering the most are like weird covers of songs, you know, or those are probably my favorites. I don't know. Like we just started, and I don't even know if you know the song, but "Fade Into You" by Mazzy Star.
No, I don't think so.
So if you heard it, you'd know it. It's a very 90s song, and it was sung by a female vocalist and her band, and it's a very slow and pretty song, and it kind of, there's really nothing. I really do nothing the whole time. I mean, in fact, I sit out the whole first verse when we play it live, but Greg sings it, and then we kind of build it up and bring it back down, and then build it up and then bring it back down, and then just blow it out. And I don't know why. I don't know if the people who come and watch us feel the same as we do when we play it, but like I love playing that song. Then there's ones like we've been doing Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol.
Okay.
So actually that was the first time we played it was in Humboldt, and it was so that was the song my wife wanted to walk down the aisle to when we got married in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. And so we played it live, and we just recorded it live, and then she walked down to and is Levi singing it and stuff. And that one was one I didn't think we'd still be playing, but it goes over really well, you know, and stuff like that. But I'm on a tangent about single songs now, I guess. But
Well, that's one thing about your band is like if there's anything from like 1990 to about 2010 that you enjoyed listening to, it's not off limits for your band. And I mean, I've
Yep.
heard you guys pull out 80s songs.
Yep.
Or like you've done covers of 80s songs in an updated fashion that is like more modern or whatever, or even pulled like modern covers of 80s songs
Yep.
and then revamped them into your stuff. So like on the last podcast, if people didn't listen to it, I was always trying to say, like, if you're from like 24 to about 45 or 50, you're going to go to a Riddled show and find about half the songs you really enjoy. You know?
And that's kind of what we're going for. I mean, we very rarely have. We've gone places where I don't know if they loved us. We played one particular place where they just kept screaming "country" at us like after every song we played, and we're like, "Yeah, we're not really that band." And most of the time, people will laugh or we'll crack jokes at them and stuff. And then Greg that night, I think, just had enough. So after every song, he started playing like the intro to "Friends in Low Places" by Garth Brooks, and I was sort of surprised we made it out of there alive that night. But
those are trying shows though. Like I've definitely been booked on shows with, and I've played in a lot of different styles of bands, but I've been booked on shows where it's like, wow, what we're playing does not fit in with what everyone else is playing, and people
talk about that.
Yeah, people pretty much just turn away and don't care, or they start heckling you so much where it's just like, dude, if you don't like this, like, I'd love to say go home, but this isn't my establishment, so I'm going to remain professional and just continue to drown up here while nobody cares, you know?
There's one we got coming up where I don't really know how it happened that we're on that bill, but because we are very different and I won't talk about what place it is, I guess, but we are very different from the two bands that are going to follow us that day.
Yeah.
But
sometimes those shows are nice because it's like, well, everyone can go to these, and it's like, let's say you got a group of 10 people, and it's like, well, and I'm just going to throw out for instance, like, let's say you're playing with a country band, and it's like, well, half the people like country and half the people don't. Well, guess what? We got something for both of you.
Yep.
You know,
yeah.
so.
Well, and I mean, Riddled's done country songs before. It's been years, and I think as we sort of really found what direction we were going to go, that's when that stuff fell off. And it's not knocking. And, you know, we talked about even doing, you know, country stuff. And it's not knocking that at all. Like, the country's king in this area. I mean, it really is. Because, I mean, if you want to talk about a genre, and I mean, country can mean so many different things. I mean, you know, like,
yeah.
Because you got, I mean, it's bluegrass country. Like, it's right there. You could play bluegrass to a country crowd and nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah.
You know, like.
I always said, like, bluegrass was like metal with clean amps played in like a country fashion.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's like literally what it is.
Yeah. That's funny that you say that. But yeah. And I mean, so, yeah, you got to have. There's a lot of bands that do a little bit of everything. And we just kind of started focusing, and we do, I mean, but we do a little bit of everything in our genre range, you know, which is alternative, punk, pop punk, whatever you want to call it, and stuff like that. But we still, like Donkey Days, we had a nice young lady that just kept coming up to the front and asking us if we could play a Shania Twain song. And finally I was like, what part of everything else we've done tonight made you think that Shania Twain was next, you know? But
yeah.
And then she requested Nickelback, and I was like, "All right, you might have got us there. We don't do it, but
that's something you could do and pull off.
Oh yeah, I can play like 3 different notes, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's Nickelback on bass. There.
Yeah, you know, and that's another tough one is like taking requests. Like that's something playing with Jesse that he pretty much was just like, dude, if you drop money in the tip jar, I'll try and play anything you want. Sure. I don't care what genre it is.
I think that's super cool.
And he started doing that, and it's fun because sometimes it doesn't go over as well as others because it's just like, well, I've heard this song like on the radio and stuff. Let me get on the internet real quick. All right, I think I can go for this. And then he just like pulls the lyrics up and goes to town, and I'm like, all right, I'm following you. Let's see where this goes. And sometimes, like I said, they're awesome. Sometimes they're not as awesome. But more often than not, if somebody requests a song and you give it like a 7 out of a 10 instead of like a 10 out of a 10, kind of nail it or whatever, people are still just like, dude, that hauled ass or whatever. Yeah. Because they don't really know or whatever, or you can just be like, well, that's my interpretation on it.
Sure.
And, you know.
Well, and it's an endearing quality of a musician, you know, to just be able to wing that. I played a few shows with a guy named Chad McDermott with Levi. Him and Levi play together, and they kind of do that when they play together. And yeah, we'll try it, you know, and it's neat. I mean, I think it's harder when you got 4 or 5 guys on a stage, you know, to do something like that.
But better.
Yeah.
But it also takes a special kind of person, because if someone came up to me and they were like, play this, you know, Chet Atkins song or play this Toby Keith song or whatever, I'd be like, I don't know. I've never even heard that song, you know. But that's the best part about Jesse is he listens to like every type of music. So it's like, play this rap song, and he's just like, all right, yeah, we can do it. Just play these chords. But I'm like, all right, I'll play them and I'll see what you do with this. And it's like, before you know it, we're playing, you know, 3-6-9 by Little John and the East Side Boys or something, and then throw it on the set list all of a sudden, you know. Yeah. Stuff like that happens too, where it's just like he'll bookmark stuff where he's like, that it worked, let's do it, you know.
And that's happened. I don't know how many times. Like we used to do a 4th of July show, did it a couple times over in at a private party over by Eagle Grove, and we'd play for 4 hours, and then they'd ask us to play longer. And usually the monetary amount made it hard to get what. And we were all having a great time, you know. Mm-hmm. Hell with it. Let's go. We'll just wing this last hour, you know. And then be like, shit, that wasn't that bad. We should probably learn how to actually play that and like throw it on the set list, you know. And, or noodling around in practice. And hey, what do you think we can tighten that up and play it next weekend, And
Yeah.
so
I love that part about playing music though too, because I never thought I'd be playing like as many genres as I'm playing now. I'd never thought I'd be enjoying playing those genres as much as I do. Because if you asked me 10 years ago, it's like metal and punk. That's it. And now I'm like most of my shows are with like Jesse, who plays predominantly country. I wouldn't pigeonhole him only as that. And then it's like Clint Riedel, who's mostly a folk artist.
Yeah.
I wouldn't predominantly say he's only folk, but like
no.
But it's still like it's so weird where it's just like I play more folk and country than anything else, and it's not something I would have ever seen myself playing. But I have so much fun playing along with them.
After a while, I think it's just music, though. I mean, I still do a lot of. So my wife gets up like at the ass crack of dawn to go to work every day, and so like a lot of nights we come home and we eat dinner, and then we'll start watching TV, and she'll fall asleep on the couch, and I realize that she gets up at like 4:45 in the freaking morning or something. Yeah, so like I'm gonna let her sleep. I go downstairs and I got a little practice amp hooked into my computer, and a Zoom little bass pedal that's mainly there for a tuner, and headphones. And I'll just be like, if I'm learning stuff that I think we're gonna start doing in Riddled or whatever, I'll work on them a little bit, and then next thing I know, I'm playing along to a Toby Keith song or something, and it's just like, I never tried playing that song before. Let's do that, and I found myself down some really weird rabbit holes doing that stuff before, but like, after a while, it's all just playing, and I mean, sure, like if you're gonna, sometimes like maybe your gear's not set up to do this kind of, you're not gonna get the exact sound you need out of that or whatever, but I think as long as your fingers are on a fretboard, and you're moving around, you're doing good for yourself, and I don't know, I think it's cool that you're out doing that stuff, and it's maybe not like if Pete was going to start a band, it might not be a country music band, or something, but yeah, after a while, it's just playing, and
That's true. I mean, you bring up a really good point there. I mean, that's another cool part about being with such talented musicians in the band, like you are with your band. It's like they could play any genre.
Oh yeah,
any of them could.
Jake's got a jazz band with Vino and Gabriel Alves, who's an insane musician.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, I don't really see Riddled turning into like a jazz band by any means, but like it is, and those different genres and stuff, they're going to challenge you, and they're ultimately going to make you better, and it's like it's like, all right, you got this, set of metric sockets, and they're 1/4 inch, but maybe you need a standard set of 1/2 inch sockets, and it's just another tool in your bag, and yeah.
Look at you go, Mr. Analogy, man. That's usually my thing.
Yeah.
That's what I've been throwing out the last handful of podcasts.
Wait, what happened? Where am I?
Well, speaking of you guys being a talented band, and I've pulled up your Facebook page. Anybody watching the video, you can barely see it, but it's over there. Sure. You have 3 shows on the docket as of now, except for that Lakeview show was last weekend, and it was amazing, by the way. You guys should have went. But yeah, you have 2 shows on your Facebook page as of the day everyone's listening to this, and more to be added as far as I know, right?
Yep, we are. I think our next one is going to be in Battle Creek, Iowa, where it's an afternoon show for their 4th of July. That one's the 15th, actually. It added the whole series when I added it.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
July 3rd, we're in Battle Creek. Afternoon show for the fire department over there. I mean, obviously, it's like a town thing for them. Then it's July 10th. We're in Audible, Iowa, at the bowling alley in Audible, Iowa. And then July 15th in Ankeny for their summer concert series there.
Yep.
At the Band Shell Park.
And you also got the Reforge show coming up too.
Yep, that one we get another chance to play with. Jeremy was kind to ask us to join him on that, and that one we get to play with Brutal again. So almost calling it the Riddled and Brutal tour or something. But
Brutally riddled. Too.
yeah, brutal with class.
Brutal with class.
Yeah.
I like it.
Riddled with Republic.
Riddled with brutal.
Yeah.
Riddled with brutality.
So that one though, I mean, what Jeremy and Caleb and Vino have put together there is awesome. What they're doing for the community, and it's wildly ambitious for a group of 3 musicians to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
And then not only to do it, but to not pin their name on it. You know, I mean, they actually, I mean, I think they even like sort of call the band a different name to do these things, like, and then the scholarships don't have their names on them at all. I mean, they picked people from the community who had specialized in these areas that they give the scholarships out, and did it in honor of them. And it's incredibly selfless and yeah, ambitious. That's a lot of work goes into something like that. And
Yep.
I commend those guys and Jeremy and everybody involved in that. Ron, that owns the brewery there, that, I mean, to let them throw a show there, in this and everybody involved, and we're more than thrilled to be involved into that. So
yeah, let me pull this up. I'm pulling up the event for that. That is July 30th, actually.
Yep.
I already forgot the date. It's on my phone, but my phone's on the other side of the room right now. So yeah, that's gonna be a heck of a show. River Hops Brewing, Fort Dodge. I think, I mean, don't quote me on this. I'm pretty sure, like, it's just a fundraiser event, but I'm pretty sure, like, all the money they make there for the fundraiser just goes straight to those scholarships to fund the scholarships.
I believe.
And from what I understand, if they make anything extra, they just tack it on to next year's scholarships.
Yep. And
so
I know they're planning on kind of expanding it for next year too.
Oh my gosh,
yeah. Those guys should be patted on the back for what they're doing there.
Absolutely.
And we're grateful to be involved, and yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty kick-ass night too. Like it probably won't suck.
Very much not.
You get the Nick Ehrhardt kind of probably won't suck guarantee. So
I'm assuming you guys are going to flip flop it though.
Absolutely.
Brutal's going to play the headline
Absolutely.
on that one. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, and Jeremy, when we did Donkey Days, I very much wanted them after us, and I think everybody in our band did. And he said, "Well, you guys' covers for the setting is probably going to be the reason that you're later, And I think at this one, that's why too we would be earlier. And it's their gig,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one thing that there's been a lot of talk in Riddled about. Going forward, we would like to at some point start working on some of our own music, and that's a big step for us because like the covers we're a cover band, but we're not. You're not gonna come see us and hear Leonard Skinner and AC/DC and ZZ Top all night because I mean there's a lot of bands that have done that for 25 years and they're gonna be way better at it than us. So we wanted to find our own thing, but I mean I think. It's very much, I think all of the members of the band at some point feel strongly that we want to do something of our own. I'm not saying we're going to stray away from the covers altogether because we're not. But
yeah, I mean, I definitely have heard it's been something you guys rumored around a little bit here and there. I know that COVID kind of put a damper on you guys getting together to write stuff, but that was always one of the kind of goals for, I mean, you guys are all musicians and you guys all, every musician wants to write music. I mean, I've written music, and I just keep it in the back burner. It's like, well, eventually, maybe someday this will come out in a certain fashion when the timing's right or whatever. But this could be that outlet that you guys all need as far as musicians.
And I mean, I've played with people that we did our own music, and actually early on, Riddled had a couple of original songs that just weren't really as good as we'd like the stuff to come that's coming from us. And I think that's going to be the other side of it is we're all going to be incredibly critical of ourselves, and stuff, and that's going to make it more difficult. But I think eventually you're going to hear some original Riddled with Class stuff at some point. So
I also felt that was kind of crazy as like bands morph and change. It's tough to bring songs that were written by somebody else along with after
Sure.
that
Oh,
person is
yeah.
no longer with the band, because it's like, do I have to get permission to do this? Or I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to rub them the wrong way and pull their song with and act like we wrote it, and people are gonna be like, "You guys wrote that," and it's like, well, no,
Sure.
actually, it was the other guitarist that wrote it or something. Like, so you don't
Yeah.
want you don't want to do stuff
the
like
old
that.
what was it? The Gin Blossoms. They had, like, their 2 biggest hits were written by a guy that kicked out like the day they released their first album or some
Oh gosh.
or shit. But yeah, no, I mean, it's funny you'd say that. And like, so when we were playing Donkey Days, Jeremy, like, in between songs, he'd be like, "Yeah, we're from Fort Dodge, and we wrote this song about Fort Dodge," and he'd give like a little intro to all these songs that all these cool songs that he'd written himself. And so when we went up, like, Greg and Levi were trading back and forth, and we do covers. And he's like, "We wrote this song about playing street dances in Renwick, Iowa," and I don't know. It was funny to me. Like, just so yeah. But I mean, eventually, I think you'll see some of that, and I'll probably have less to do with that than anyone else in my band, because they're incredible musicians, and I go don't, like, and yeah, but.
Oh, one of my favorite jokes, and I almost don't want to say it because it's funny. So you have to. Now, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. You have to come watch us live if you want to hear one of my fun jokes about stage banter and writing your own music, because I feel like that's something a lot of people do, is find their best way to stage banter while they're up there. And do you have a microphone up there?
Yeah. Yep.
You do some background vocals.
I do some na-na-na-ing on the. That's about it, really. I a little bit here and there. I got that auto-tune pedal thing.
Oh yeah, I got one too. My favorite part about that was, if you go to a place and there's like another sound person there running sound, they almost always turn their nose.
They're
up
gonna
at it.
hate you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I very rarely. I think Mark ran sound for us, and I used it one time. And he like comes and plugs in my microphone, and I like look. He looks away, and I shoved it in the thing and clicked that in. But
yeah, I've been at a venue once where I plugged it in to use it for a specific show, and the sound guy walks up to plug it in, and I was like, plug it into the pedal down there, and he looks at it and he goes, "I'm not plugging it into that." And that's like what he told me, and I was just like,
no.
All right, I guess just plug it in the mic and unplug it then. Whatever,
Well, shit. All right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, that was honestly, like, that was what kind of turned me off from using it anymore. I was like, well, I guess it's time to get better at singing. But
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how much I don't even really know where it's set most of the time anymore and stuff. I do very little singing in this band, and and I think for the listening pleasure of everyone else, I'll probably keep it that way. But
well, let's hear a little doo-wop music here on the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, you got some shows coming up. We'll transfer this back around. You got some shows coming up. Riddled with Class. If you guys are looking for any of that stuff, you're on Facebook. The links are down below. Otherwise, you can just go to Facebook and type in @Riddled with Class. Boom, you'll be there.
Yep.
I got a little feedback.
Yeah, I
coming
was
in.
gonna say I heard it too.
There we go. All right. I think it's just coming through the headphones, thankfully. But yeah, so you guys have the Riddled with Class Facebook page. That's where everything's going to be, or it's RWC Riddled with Class. You'll find it. Otherwise, the link is in the description. It's easy to find right there.
Sure.
You got an Instagram page as well.
Yeah, I tried to be a little more active with that. I forget. We have a website, but don't go to that. I haven't done anything with that for a long time. But.
All right. Well, I'll put the links down below to everything I can scrounge up. The Facebook page is going to be the big place to find all the stuff. You guys also do have a Twitter account, but that's another one where
No.
bands and Twitter for some reason just
I kind of hate Twitter. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of hate it.
Of all the social medias, it was the one I enjoyed the most.
Really?
And I feel like more people should use it, and more people don't, and it kind of sucks because I don't want to talk to strangers on the internet. So.
Yeah, no, and I see, like, it bans on it. I suppose it's kind of like I that's how I knew today though. That's how I knew I wanted to make sure. I went to lunch and I listened to your podcast with Kayla, or most of it. I couldn't get it all in over lunch, but that's your Twitter, we follow you on Twitter, I guess.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, yep.
And it's like, boom. And I was like, oh, shit, it's Caleb. You know? And,
That's awesome. Yeah, the Twitter notifications, which are like oddly hard to shut off. Of your
oh, my
phone.
God. And some of them, like, some people just, like, blow it up.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to name, but there's a country singer that I kind of like, and he's kind of a different kind of country. Holy crap, I get his tweets ringing through all the time, and it's always like political stuff. I'm like, I hate you now. I don't know.
Yeah, and social media is such a weird thing too, because some people can get away with that, and some people, like, it's like, oh, I'm a band and I got a Facebook page, but like, we almost never talk about music or the shows we have coming up or share anything, but like the only thing they post is like, what's your favorite pizza topping? And they have like 80 comments on it and like 22 shares. And it's like, how does this happen?
I'm playing a show for charity, and it's for kids to do this, and it's like, and then another band's like, I like pickles. Like, what's your favorite kind of pickle?
Yeah, check out this Facebook group on pickles or whatever, you know, and then everyone's just like
148 likes, you know. And I've stopped, I guess, like early on in the band stuff, I put a lot of stock in event responses, and you know, we've all seen that meme, like friends who said they'd come to your show, friends who actually showed up, you know, and it's like 3 people, you know. And nowadays it's just, I put it on there so that people know what we're doing, you know, and come hang out. If you're in the area, come hang out. You're going to have a good time, you know. And
you know, that's one reason I'm glad bands do that stuff, is because I've been in bands that don't make the pages, and it's like tough to be like, oh, we played here last night. And like, I didn't know. And it's like, yeah, so and so we never made an event. And it's like, it's also nice because every time I'm gonna do it as soon as you leave. I see there's a couple events you guys are playing that I haven't clicked interested on. Sure. I always click interested, and then
and it lets you know where your friends are.
Yeah,
you know, and that's the thing. I need to be better at that too, because when we're not playing, that's what we enjoy doing, is going and watching music. And so I'm scrambling through Facebook. I'm like, where's Jeremy at tonight? You know, what's going on? Where's Jesse? You know, where's this and that? And if I just, like, when I saw it, like, clicked interested, it let me know what's going on, you know? Or, like, you go look and somebody was playing outside, oh, shit, it's canceled, you know? And, like, if you're interested, it'll let you know, you know? And that's, I should be better about that, too, really, because it's almost like, you know, it's just a bookmark for you, you know, on it and stuff. And
I debated making a calendar for it and putting it online or whatever.
Sure.
But like the Audible Farm group that I created has like a calendar capability within it, but you have to be on a laptop to view it. So like nobody ever gets to see it.
There was that music store up in Algona. Was it
Stringwinders?
Stringwinders. They used to do a local event calendar for like local bands, actually, for a long time. And they put so much work into it, and I mean, it's hard to keep track of everybody, especially this summer. Yeah. Where, I mean, we're not as busy as we have been, you know. Just this year, we're kind of, the Riddled family is growing like wildfire, you know. Levi's about to be a dad again, you know. Greg just became a dad, and so we're trying to be, you know, a little slower getting going on this stuff, just because people have major life events going on, you know, and stuff. But I mean, everybody, it's been like wildfire, you know, and I mean, some of it's just pent up demand, I think, you know.
Very much so, yeah. I mean, like we were talking about it before the podcast. I'm turning down gigs with people because I'm playing with Three Finger Betty, and I'm playing with Jesse Wilson, and on the off chance Clint can't find people to join him, I buddy up with him and play shows with him. I even had another person randomly hit me up and say, hey, I'm free on this day, and it's like, I'm booked. I didn't tell him you're the 4th person to ask me to play on that day, but like I'm already booked and I can't. I'm sorry, but you know.
Well, and I think a lot of that, you know, the singer-songwriter, 1 or 2 man gig thing, that's wildly popular right now. And I mean, and I'm not hating on it. I 100% understand why, you know. And I mean, I don't know. It's 2 guys and you can play anywhere. Yeah. I mean, you can play in a tiny bar or you can play great big outside gig, you know, where like fitting all 4 of the Riddled guys somewhere, and then I'm gonna bring 4,000 watts worth of shit. You know?
Yeah. I will have to say it's nice not carrying around a 100-watt head and a 4x12 cab. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Even I'm thinking about like what's a way I can make this smaller if I had to.
Sure.
I'm always thinking about that now, where it's just like I wouldn't mind.
The older you get, like the big rigs are still awesome.
Amazing.
But they also suck. You know, like
I hate dragging them around. Like if my practice pad was in a place that was ground level, I don't think I'd hate it as much. But oh my god, I hate dragging it up and down steps.
Did you ever play the Afterlife in Aldona?
I
know you were there a ton, but
I played on a show there, but I didn't have to drag any gear there.
Holy shit. Those steps were just murder.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to say the guy's name, but there was a guy who we played with a few times, and I had like a 100-pound PV Black Widow 115 combo amp, like this huge thing. Mm-hmm. And the damn thing, it weighed 90 to 100 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And this dude would always just brag. He'd be like, man, you're struggling with that. I'll carry that up them steps like it's nothing. And then he would. I'd be like, yeah, good job, Hercules. You know, like, thank you for that.
Appreciate it. But, yeah, there's nothing worse than like wickedly upstairs or downstairs gigs, especially like most of the venues. It's just like, well, you've got a hallway that's 3.5 foot wide, with a railing, and good luck dragging your shit up there sideways.
Yeah, like just straight down too. And, oh my! And I don't even know if I could do that anymore. Actually, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm not 25, and I'm starting to I picked a box up off I have a shelf out in the thing that had like a bunch of bass parts in it. And the thing probably weighs 35 pounds. My shoulder hurt for 3 weeks. I am breaking down.
Oh man, so I guess we could like kind of crush it on down here. It's getting a little bit late at night, and I'm sure you got stuff going on. But if anybody's looking for stuff, the Facebook page is where to look for it. It'll be the first link down below. So check that out, Riddled With Class Facebook page. Tons of events coming up this summer. Possibly more coming in the books, depending on whether or not they can fit it in their busy life schedules. But
this later this summer and everything, if you just reach out to us via Facebook, you're probably going to talk to me, and we'll see if we can't make something happen too.
All right, so that's the generic booking link for anybody too as well. So hit them up on Facebook and see what you can do. I mean, God, if I owned a bar, I'd bring you in. Like,
I appreciate
that's
that.
how much I enjoy your guys' tune, But
we have a fun show. We have a really fun show.
You really do. You bring good sound, good lights, and a good set of songs that can almost everybody at the bar could enjoy, like I said, at least half your set. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate you sitting down talking with me, man.
Anytime, man. Yep. I think, was this the 4th time now, or is it 4th, 5th, something like that?
It's the 4th. You were one of the first people to do video with me too. So
was I? Yeah. Sorry to all of you who watch that on video that I'm not better looking.
God, I can't remember. We were talking about like what were we talking about earlier today? Something about like gaining weight or something, and I just postured up and was just like, I
forgot that there's been video this whole time.
That's all right. For as many people watching, appreciate you watching. But awesome. Thanks, man. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Oh baby, another good guy of the music scene in my area. Interviewed two in a row. That's pretty awesome. There's a lot of good guys in the music scene, but I think everyone will agree that Nick Ehrhardt is just one of the best. He's always smiling, always having a good time. I don't know if you could tell in this episode, but we had plenty of laughs going in this episode as well. So, hats off to all the good guys out there, and good gals, too. There's a lot of good gals out there making music. As a matter of fact, I've been trying to schedule a couple podcasts with a few of them here, so maybe we'll get a couple of those good gals of music in a couple of these upcoming episodes. The more I listen to music and go to jam nights and go to shows, even if it's music that I don't necessarily would say would be my favorite, I'm still blown away by the talent that some people have, and it's pretty humbling. I mentioned it in a couple episodes here not too long ago that I used to think that I was like the best musician, and I was like just absolutely horrible. And now I'm starting to finally come to my own with this music thing and kind of get my own style and direction that I like to go in. And it's kind of fun to see that, that it's like, well, I'm I'm getting there, but there's so many talented people out there. It's humbling. It really, really is. And I'm only scratching the surface with this podcast. So if you guys know some talented people, send them my way. I would love to sit down and talk with them. I've got a bunch of people that are on the docket for people I need to sit down and talk with. I just need to get the time, schedule them out, and get it all done so that way you guys can enjoy our conversations. And I have to say thank you guys for sitting down and listening to these podcasts week after week. And if this is the first one you've listened to, go back and find some more episodes. You might know some of those people. And even if you don't, you'll probably end up enjoying the conversation. So I just got to say thanks to everybody for sitting down and listening to this. And thanks to Nick for sitting down and talking with me this week. I had a good time sitting down talking with him. I don't get to talk to him as much as I used to, but he's a busy man. So shout out, Nick. If you guys are looking for ways to support the podcast, it's as simple as liking the Facebook page or following us on Instagram or subscribing on YouTube. The YouTube subscribe one is a big one. I want to get as many subscribers as I can on YouTube. Obviously, it's not going to be easy to hit that 1,000 mark that everybody kind of pines after, but I hope we do. You know, I'm willing to make a deal with everybody here. If I can get 300 subscribers, I'll release the first 20 Patreon episodes for free. I'll just put them up there. If we can hit 300, I think we're at 222, 223, somewhere in there. And yeah, if we can hit 300, you know, that's I'll just release the first 20 episodes on the Patreon page. That's about half a year's worth of Patreon for free. I'll just release it out to everybody. So if you want, check it out. That's going to be the way I'll release those bad boys. And I'll maybe if we hit 300, I'll make a deal with you next time when we hit 400. So if you want to support non-monetarily, those are the best ways. Just like, subscribe, and share. If you're looking to support monetarily, hit up the Audible Farm shop. It's starting to run low on things, but I'm getting some new merch in. I'm going to fill that baby back up with some new merch. And I gave everyone crap for wanting all these hoodies, and then all of a sudden it was like 60 degrees out the other day, and it was like 40 degrees at nighttime. So I guess I should have had some hoodies, but that's my fault. Got a new shirt design. I'm working on getting that one, ordered up and sent out. So we'll see if that'll end up coming through here in the next few weeks. Like I said, I'm just trying to be patient with my graphic designer on that one. So hats off to him for doing all the work for that. I know he's a busy man as well. He does this in his free time. So I just got to say thanks once again for everybody, listening. If you want to watch the episodes, you can do that monetarily on the Patreon page. It's $1 a month. That's $12 a year. That's like 2 cups of coffee. It's not really that much, but if you don't want to pay the money, you can listen to it for free. It's free everywhere. It's always going to be free. You just won't get to see our smiling, happy faces while we're talking about music. And if you don't want to pay for it and you don't want to watch us, that's fine too. You don't have to. Like I said, it's going to be free audio versions on Facebook, on YouTube and every podcast platform you can find, including Spotify. So if everybody has Spotify, find us on there. And just leave us a comment somewhere. Let us know you're listening to the episode. Let us know you liked it. What was your favorite part about it? Something like that. That's a nice way to kind of let me know people are out there actually listening. So hats off to everybody out there for listening. Man, I love sitting down talking with musicians about music stuff. Even if it's just about gear or something like that, it's still tons of fun to me. So thank you guys for listening week in and week out. I really appreciate you guys. I'll catch you next week. Peace.